Welcome back. I hope the previous assignment made some sense to you. If not, don't worry about it. You're only going to fail the quiz, get a bad job, and have a horrible life. But I'm sure it's no big deal. So, relax. Now, what does propagate mean? Literally means move through a medium. The two most common mediums we seem to be using are water and air, but we'll get into those more as we go along. So, what are two different ways for waves in water to propagate? You should know all this. I'm just going over it to make sure you're ready. When you throw a stone into a pond, hits the water, sends out what we call circular waves. The other way is what we call planar waves. If you are standing on a beach, and the waves roll in, they actually come in straight at you. We call that planar waves. And they're planar at the beach because they start so far out away from shore that they just come in what's effectively a straight line, even if they may be bent a little bit. So those are the two examples of the way waves propagate in water. So waves come along and they hit something. They've got four choices. They can bounce off. This is what happens when a light wave hits a mirror. It reflects. And it's a perfect reflection. A little tiny bit of the wave power probably gets lost to friction or whatnot, but generally speaking, the light wave is perfect. It just reflects straight at you, and then it reflects into distance and eventually dissipates when it hits a dark material. That's why mirrors are made by spraying silver on the back, so it's a perfect reflection. Refraction. This is one of the two tricky ones. Refraction is when the wave goes through the material but it bends. So, good example of this, light and water. If you've ever been beneath the water in a pool and you look up, which you shouldn't, it's bad for your eyes, you will see people distorted even when the water is not moving because the light actually bends as it hits the surface of the water and changes direction. Another example of this, if you've ever read the book Hatchet, which I know a lot of St. Francis kids did, he was trying to stab a fish in the water with a spear and he kept missing because the light that was coming from the fish actually bends so that he thinks the fish is 2 inches further in one direction than another. He had to learn to aim underneath it. Somebody in the other class said, well, how do spearfish people hit a fish? They have to learn to aim where the fish is not. It's a very tricky business. Diffraction, the wave goes around, and when it hits the corner, it gets bent. If you're standing on one side of a house and someone shouts on the other side, you still hear them. You don't hear them because the sound went through the house. House is pretty solid. Sound's going to get dissipated before it gets through them. But these sound waves bend as they get to the corners of the house, and they actually go around the house. Same reason why you can hear people talking through a door. The sound actually goes under the door. You can hear it go through the door a little bit, but most of the sound you hear is from the gap under the door as the sound waves bend under the door and change direction and come back up to your ear. The last one is absorption. And the wave gets destroyed. And this would be a sound dampening room. They fill it with foam on the walls, and they put those little spiky pieces of foam on them. And that's designed to suck up all the sound so that the room is quiet. Maybe it's a lot of noise in there. Maybe you don't want any noise coming from the outside. But they'll do that a lot with sound dampening rooms. They just absorb the sound. And there's lots of other examples of these four: absorption, diffraction, refraction, and reflection. The one that people usually miss are the difference between refraction and diffraction. Refraction, it actually goes through something. Light goes through glass. Light goes through water. Diffraction, it goes around. It gets bent around the corner. If you hold up a perfect square cardboard and you shine a light on it, it doesn't make a perfect image on the wall. It makes a fuzzy edged image on the wall because the light is bending just slightly around it. That's about it. Take 5 minutes, study for your quiz. Go over your notes. It is an open note quiz. Good luck.